Special education teacher Jaime Lozano struggles to keep the attention of his elementary school students on a good day. Lozano tells USA Today in February 2021 that, as the nation pivoted to online learning, his efforts to keep his students engaged were no match for poor internet connections. Lozano and his students are not alone. Psychologist Lloyd Morissette calls this national predicament the digital divide. And, while its effects were highlighted during the midst of the pandemic, this nationwide crisis has existed for far longer. In fact, a May 2019 Pew Research Center report found that, before the pandemic hit America, 44% of low-income households were completely offline. Pew Research also reports in September of 2020 that 40% of all households, regardless of income, do not have access to a stable internet connection. Given how vital the internet is in our day-to-day lives, it's time we talk about municipally owned internet. Basically, we should place our internet provision responsibilities into the hands of local governments to begin mitigating the digital divide. So let's explore the causes, effects, and solutions to growing internet inaccessibility, or what the United Nations considers a matter of life and death. Carrie Fugate explains in her March 2020 Vox blog how her lack of internet access from home has hindered her ability to perform her job as a blogger. In fact, her 2020 blog was literally written from the parking lot of a Taco Bell. Her story introduces us to the causes of the digital divide. First, the internet is not reliably accessible, and second, internet companies employ biased decisions when providing service. But first, the internet is not accessible. The average U.S. internet consumer pays around $60 per month for internet access, reports broadband specialist David Anders in March 2020. And when you can't afford to set aside $60 for internet, you either become dependent on public internet sources like libraries, coffee shops, or Taco Bells, or live without internet at all. The digital divide is further exacerbated by the lack of reliable internet connection in rural communities. According to the most recent Federal Communications Commission report in 2018, 1/4 of rural Americans do not have broadband access. Internet inaccessibility in both low-income and rural communities is only contributing to the consequences of the digital divide. Second, internet company bias. According to the National Digital Inclusion Alliance in 2019, internet companies are guilty of digital redlining, or intentionally neglecting to provide internet services to low-income and minority communities. The most widespread case of digital redlining exists in Detroit, where, according to The Hill in May 2021, over 40% of citizens are completely offline due to this corrupt practice. Internet inaccessibility and internet company bias are only highlighting the detrimental effects of the digital divide, which will continue to cause harm during and likely after the coronavirus. Jay Shah and Santosh Nori tell Business Insider in February of 2020 that they are noticing a surge in their mobile healthcare clinic for low-income and homeless communities. As prescription refills and COVID vaccinations become harder to access without internet, Shah and Nori are noticing the major disparities between those who can afford internet and those who can't. Their experience brings us to the effects of the digital divide. First, diminished access to vital resources, and second, the stifling of remote work. But first, diminished access to resources. As seen through Shah and Nori's experience, the digital divide is impeding Americans' access to vital resources. A 2021 Washington Post article examines how a lack of internet access prevents people from booking COVID vaccination appointments. They find that those who do not have internet are forced to call state hotlines and wait for hours on hold to book what little vaccination appointments remain after online bookings have been made. Additionally, the digital divide is even making banking a struggle for those without internet. Forbes of 2020 reports that by next year, 200 million Americans will be banking online. As vital resources transition to digital platforms, communities left without the internet are also left without the things they need to survive in the 21st century. Second, the stifling of remote work. As jobs continue to migrate towards remote platforms, the digital divide has greatly impacted the workforce. In 2020, Stanford economist Nicholas Bloom predicted that in the next few years, we will see a surge in working from home. In fact, according to Business Insider in February of 2021, companies like Reddit, Spotify, Twitter, Microsoft, and even Google have announced that they're transitioning to hybrid work platforms. Basically, they're allowing their employees to work up to full-time from home. The post-COVID workforce will reinstate internet accessibility as a pillar of our economy, heightening the damage of both internet company bias and digital redlining. In 2010, the State Policy Network reported on how Lake County, Minnesota, attempted to narrow the digital divide by constructing their own citywide internet service. Unfortunately, their efforts failed, and the city lost billions of dollars. However, if Lake County had access to the resources provided by Chattanooga, Tennessee, their story would have been far different. This brings us to our solutions for combating the digital divide. First, placing our internet responsibilities into the hands of local governments, and second, presenting legislation to ban digital redlining. The city of Chattanooga placed their internet responsibilities into the hands of their locally owned, publicly funded Electric Power Board, or EPB. I corresponded with Ed Marston, a member of the Chattanooga EPB, who explained that deploying a municipally owned broadband network has allowed taxpayer money to support free internet services for low-income and minority communities. But how do we achieve what Chattanooga did? Well, Chattanooga has launched a website geared towards supporting communities interested in deploying a publicly owned fiber optic network, including the best ways to avoid independent lawsuits. Take the link I will provide through the comments below this video to your mayor, or tell me where you live and I will connect with them for you, and urge them to set up a consultation with the EPB so they can see for themselves how feasible deploying a fiber optic network is. By utilizing Chattanooga's resources, cities and small towns alike can better serve their communities and bridge the digital divide. However, our second solution must occur on a federal level. In order to combat internet company bias, we need to present legislation banning digital redlining. I have drafted a petition urging the Federal Communications Commission to do so, to which I will provide another link to after my speech. I'm asking you all to read it, sign it, and share it. At the end of this speech season, I will present the results of this petition to the FCC. This is something that we, as a speech community, can do to better our own competition platform and garner attention around this detrimental issue. So, I need the help of all of you to push this petition into reality. After exploring the causes, effects, and solutions to the digital divide, hopefully we understand how integral municipally owned internet is to our nation, because internet access is no longer a luxury. It's a basic human right.